Welcome everybody to part two of SimpleSoft Solutions Modern Manufacturing series. I am Jessica Wirt, Customer Success Manager here at SimpleSoft Solutions. SimpleSoft is an Infor partner and we specialize in Infor Cloud Suite CRM. We help companies learn more about their CRM and how to integrate other solutions with it. So what we're doing in this series is partnering with other companies to bring more access to information for your CRM. So today we are featuring Ty Swain, who is the CEO of Growth Dynamics. Hi, Ty. Thanks for joining us.
Good morning, Jessica. Thanks for having us.
Right, and Growth Dynamics specializes in sales team analysis. They're a global leader in working with manufacturing companies, especially in helping you analyze your existing sales team as well as hire the right ones. So Ty, we'll go ahead and start with some questions, and I appreciate your time today.
Thank you.
All right, so first off, we are focusing on the customer experience in this series and what it means to be a modern manufacturer and connecting those technological advantages, right, such as CRM and other solutions. So what are you seeing in the manufacturing industry on how to focus better on the customer experience with your existing sales team?
That's a great question. It's a big question. I mean, as you know, with your company and our company focusing where we do in manufacturing, there are so many major changes going on. When you look at larger sales organizations, they're struggling with the complexity of using technology from everything from social networks to CRM or otherwise, but many of them have the tools. And then you look at some of the mid-size sales organizations, 25 to 100 salespeople, and they're just trying to get those tools applied and utilize them effectively and efficiently. And then you look at some of the smaller companies now, so much of the CRM offerings such as yours are models that are affordable, and a lot of these companies can and do put these tools in place. I think the most important component of this is how do they then apply them? How do they use them, and how's the sales organization using them? What we're seeing as a Salesforce performance company is you have two types. You have the younger generation of sales professionals that are taking the technology and applying the technology and using it to efficiently do their jobs. That is everything from social networking to reaching out to gathering information in the database to make their jobs more efficient. But we also see a large trend in sales organizations that have a sales force that's been long-standing, people that have been in the job 15, 20, 25 years that are really struggling not to use the technology, but to apply it in their day-to-day. They're used to using a day timer and pieces of paper to write things down and notes and things like that, and that's always been the format for which they learned. Today, that big shift, that making that dynamic shift has been a big challenge. And I think a lot of companies, large and small, struggle with that. And I think there's a lot of ways to solve that. But I think what is really an advantage today, and you know this as well as I do, is so much of the CRM technology has been simplified. You know, we're not going into these massive, advanced, overcost, overpriced programs that can't be applied, can't be implemented. So many of the technologies that you're seeing today are starting to be available for mid-market, large market, and even small companies. So it's pretty exciting, but at the same time, it's a big, big, complex change.
Yeah, and you know, we always here at SimpleSoft, we tell people always have a process, right, in your CRM for the sales team to follow, because as you know, like you said, user adoption can be difficult. So when it comes to manufacturers and their existing sales team, how can you help them motivate the sales team to get in the CRM and see it as a valuable tool? How can they know that about their existing team?
It's a great question. I think, and that's probably the million-dollar question, frankly, is if the sales organization itself is not bought in, and we've been seeing this for 5 to 7 years. This is not because of COVID or because of a pandemic. That just simply jumped us ahead 3 to 5 years in technology and forced manufacturers and forced salespeople to start applying the technology more effectively because they have no options. But I think the most important thing is the education and the engagement. Most of what we've seen in the past, when there's failure in CRM technology, when there's failure in technology, period, even using LinkedIn 5 to 7 years ago when it first came out, it's when you force a sales team to use something without getting their engagement, understanding what they're going to struggle with, understanding how they're going to use it. So we found that there's really three steps. One is getting the sales team's engagement and letting them know what type of CRM technology that we're looking to apply, even if it's been decided upon. But we want your feedback. We want to share with you how it works. We want to show you the benefits of it. We want to share with you how we plan to use it, and then we want your feedback, whether the decision's been made or not. The biggest challenge is the decision's usually made, and then the sales team gets the technology and says, we made a decision between marketing and sales, and this is what we came up with, and generally then there's the infighting that occurs. So the second piece is education. It's understanding how to use the technology, keeping it simple. So many people say this, keep it simple, stupid in sales, because frankly, the harder it is to apply, the more difficult it is going to be for the non-believer, the non-engaged person to use it, and they'll have all kinds of excuses why they can't, because I can't understand it. So keeping it very simple and easy to use and easy to apply so it's not too cumbersome. But the third piece is really important, is accountability. It's once that engagement has occurred and once the education has occurred, the sales leadership team and the leadership organization and marketing needs to drive accountability to the sales organization to use the tools. Because if they don't, then marketing can't do their job to market effectively e-blasts and information when they have bad data, and the sales organization can't use it for efficiencies in what they do in their job. And you noted something very important in the sales process. If I know that a company is a small company versus a large company, or they're a high-tech company versus more of a transactional product company, how I sell and the sales process we use should really be applied to those types of organizations. So the more I have from a data perspective, the better off I am being able to build a sales process that really applies to those scenarios, and then track that with the CRM.
Yeah, good stuff. All right, so let's take a deeper dive into that sales approach. We talk a lot about customer intelligence and knowing that target market. I hear you talk about a lot in your other videos. So let's maybe just talk about that. Like, what should we know about creating a sales approach for our customers as a manufacturer?
Okay, great. When you look at so many of the companies we talk to, if you ask the sales organization, and I would ask any leader who's listening to this to go to your sales team and ask them specifically, who do you think is our ideal customer target? Who's ideal? Not just who's our larger customer or our best customers, but what do you think is our ideal customer type? What do they look like? What's their size? What do they buy? What's the average sale? And you'd be surprised, about 50% of the sales team will tell you something that's completely different than what you'd expect, and the other 50% of the sales team will come close. The fact that you have 50% of the team that probably does not know who the ideal customer target is would tell you then that they don't know the sales process they should be using to target them. So today, we all know that prospecting and developing brand new customers is going to be a lot more challenging, a lot longer cycle than it's been in the past, because if we're unable to visit, or more importantly, we're unable to cold call or drop by, which so many sales professionals have done in the past, use that as their way of making a sales call, those sales calls are going to go away. At some point or another, either the customer is going to keep us away, or the salesperson is not going to be allowed by process to do that. So we've got to come up with a sales process that works. And part of that is outreach on social networking, emails, phone calls. There should be a sales process that applies, and it should align with who those ideal targets are. And that sales process in itself really needs to focus in on the reasons why customers want to do business with us and who those ideal customers are. If I don't know that, then I'm selling blind. I'm simply selling in the hopes that somebody's going to buy something. And if I hit enough customers, sooner or later somebody will buy something. But in the future, I don't see that as being the way sales will work in the field. You're either going to be successful targeting the right companies, or you're going to fail.
Yeah, absolutely. And so when we talk about manufacturers, as you know, most manufacturers, their customers are a dealer or distribution network.
Yes.
A lot of times there's that struggle, right, of how to get in front of those dealers with your product line. So what are some things you're seeing working with customers you work with to help that relationship?
Well, when we talk to sales organizations, and we do this a lot, when we're looking at defining what top performance is in their role, we'll meet with a sales organization and then share with them what we've found to be what's the top performance standard, what's the focus of the role, how should they spend their time, and more importantly, who's the ideal customer that they should be focusing on for success, and then how to sell to them. When you start looking at the complexity of that, I think the overall biggest challenge is How do you get the sales team at the distributor level to see me as an advantage from a manufacturer perspective when there's so many of me calling on so many of them? So I'm not the only manufacturer rep. Let's just say that I'm representing ABC company. I'm not the only one that's calling on our distributor, because that distributor generally will carry anywhere between 50, 100, 500 different SKUs of products or different types of technology that they're sharing with customers or machines or cutting tools or otherwise. So the distributor sales rep is really struggling with having all these diverse suppliers calling on them, and the sales manager really has to decide which one's going to bring us the biggest value proposition. Right now, what we're seeing is a lot of the distributors are focusing a lot of their time on existing customers, making sure those existing customers are performing and producing, going after new potential business. But both sales teams on the supplier and distributor level are struggling with the same issue. How do I reach those customers I generally used to just drop by and do a door knocking, and all of a sudden got in the door to reach out and talk to them? That's really been eliminated, along with trade shows and other networking events. So today's sales role is so complex and so challenging. At the distributor level, a lot of them want to keep the suppliers that are not their primaries out for now, is what we're seeing. They're not looking so much for new products to offer. They're looking to optimize the products they've got. So I think the challenge for the distributor is, which suppliers are going to bring us the greatest value proposition, which suppliers are going to bring us the knowledge and education to help us sell their products, and which of them are going to give us the best quality product for the price, so that our customer doesn't push back on me when I'm just trying to get in the door to sell them a product as a distributor. So I think there's complexity on both sides. It's a really it's a big map. It really is.
Yeah, and knowing that I think is important. I know you do a lot of work with customer experience and learning about the customers for companies. And we always suggest getting that type of data in the CRM. Everyone thinks of typical data collection, emails, and contact information are the obvious. But, we're really focusing this series on learning about giving a better customer experience. And like you said, if you could speak to how you get that customer data, what are some ideas to get that back into the CRM so that they can give a more tailored approach to their distributors when trying to sell?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think today you've got the generalized, what they call customer satisfaction surveys, which we find that about 90% of most companies that receive them, especially today with the amount of digital press that's occurring at the customer level, they're probably surveyed out. A lot of companies, associations, manufacturer associations are still sending out surveys to really get the voice of decision makers in the companies. But the reality today is so many companies don't reach out to get the voice of their customers, to really find out why they buy from them. And some of them are afraid to ask. Some of them will get feedback that they just don't recognize, and because they really are not getting the input from the sales team that they should. Sometimes the sales team doesn't even know why a customer buys from them. All they know is they like me. Well, unfortunately today, the liking process is probably going to shift. Having a relationship at a distance doesn't get a sale. What's going to get a sale is a value proposition, great service and support, and then that rapport. The rapport where I'm on the ball and I'm really there. But the key to that is really understanding what customers want and expect from me as a sales professional or from our company. So we found that there's kind of two ways. We have a program that's called Client Max, and there's a lot of programs like this out there, but it's really a customer intelligence technology that is customized to go out to their customer's customer and find out why they buy from them. What should a salesperson do when they visit? Should they visit? And if and when they visit, what should they be bringing to the table? What's the value proposition we bring? What do you think of our pricing, our service, our support, our technical support? Getting and asking information that is really crucial to understanding why they buy from you, what you do really well, areas you need to improve, and then more importantly, what are things in 2021 that you'd like to see from our company that are different, new products, new support, different things. That's one side. Right? And we feed that back to the sales force as well as the sales leadership, so they can understand more about why those customers that responded actually want and do work with them. The second piece of this is, if you don't do that, is giving a formatted the same types of questions to the sales team to have them go out to existing customers and ask them specifically some of these questions to get a knowledge and an education that they are not getting. They're not asking some of the questions that they should. And I think those are crucial to getting customer intelligence today and finding out why customers buy from you, so you can go after other customers that are like them and say, we do this for General Electric, and we do this for ABC, and this is why they buy from us. And that helps a customer to feel comfortable buying from a company.
That's great. This is all good stuff, and I appreciate your time today. I know, as I mentioned in the beginning, Ty, you work with a lot of manufacturers and distributors. So is there anything just on the industry as a whole or value your company brings that you want to mention here as we wrap up?
Yeah, thank you. So we've been in business over 20 years, and when companies think of us, most of our customers, they're in the manufacturing and distribution segment, and they either struggle with sales force selection, and they're looking for better ways to attract or to hire and select the right salespeople, and then sales leadership as well. So many of our customers use our assessment tools and programs, which are really unique. They're easy to use, easy to apply, but they're utilized for hiring and selecting as well as developing an existing sales team. So that's probably 40% of our customer business. The other side of our business is really where we're benchmarking top performance, or what we call defining the top performance standard for a company to help them really build a picture of what is top performance in sales today. We do that with a lot of large as well as mid-market manufacturers to really help them hire and select the right people, but on top of that, be able to develop, support, and even analyze their existing team to identify areas or gaps for training and development. And we also gain the voice of the sales organization, where we generally will find that they're really looking for more education or more knowledge on how do I use LinkedIn? How should I actively go out and utilize our CRM to promote our business? What can I do in my job that's more effective when they really aren't sure? Again, you go back to that longer standing, older sales organization that are highly knowledgeable, extremely experienced people that today are selling in a totally different model than they have in the last 5 or 10 years. And it's challenging. So I think instead of losing them, we need to help them along the way. And I think that's really where our company comes into play, is working on sales leadership's behalf to do that.
Great. Well, that is all great information. I very much appreciate your time today. And
thank you.
Everyone, sorry, Ty, thank you too.
Thanks so much.
Everyone, be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel to follow the complete series on modern manufacturing, to see more about how you can use your Infor CRM to integrate with other tools and give a great customer experience to your customer base, whether it be direct or through distribution. So we'll see everybody soon. Have a great day. Thanks, Ty.
Thank you, Jessica.